So the NFL and NFLPA have agreed that teams will bring 80 players into training camp for 2020. Now, it does suck because right away you're lopping off 320 jobs. Although due to this weird off season, no OTAs, limited training camp, no preseason games, the chances of some of these bottom of the roster guys to make an impression and make some noise, maybe make the practice squad, maybe even make the 53, probably pretty nil, right? And you're trying to lower the potential for an outbreak of COVID-19, coronavirus, the Rona. So fewer players in the building. You do have some more space. You can space out, socially distance as best you can, blah, blah, blah. It all makes sense, right? So Minnesota Vikings have famously, notoriously been carrying 87 players on the 90-man roster since the end of the draft and assigning UDFA. So now, team has two options. So one, as you're seeing some teams doing right now, and as of right now, the Vikings haven't gone down this road. They can cut players right away. So lots of teams are just getting down to 80 right now. So teams can have 80 by July 28th, Tuesday, which is the start of training camp for most teams. Or they could keep their 90-man roster or up to 90-man roster until August 16th and then cut down to 80. And then you have a couple more weeks of camp and practice before the regular season starts in September. So will the Vikings go either route? I don't know. If teams do keep upwards of 90 until August 16th, they do have to do more staggering, more stages, more split squad stuff. So it's a bit of a mess. But if the Vikings do decide just to lop off 7 names, it really sucks. I mean, this is not the year to be a UDFA or fringe roster guy, but we got some projections of where the Vikings could make a little bit of room. So when we initially did our 80-man roster projection, it was with Everson and Josh Klein in the building. Now, we do have to accept reality on reality's terms. It does make a lot of sense. I think it still could happen for both of them. But also, I mean, once you do have players in the bubble, it doesn't make a lot of sense to bring in a couple more outsiders, which it complicates. It's such a weird-ass offseason, man. But, yeah. All right, so getting into the cuts. Working on, here we go. Oh, laundry's done, by the way. All right, so quarterbacks, I decided to keep all 4. I think that it's going to behoove a lot of teams to have as many signal callers as possible on the rosters this year. Running backs, so got Dalvin, Madison, Abdullah, Boone, C.J. Hammond, Jake Bargas, the UDFA tight end fullback from North Carolina, come on and raise up. Tony Brooks-James, who was a 2019 UDFA out of Oregon, just doesn't get the time of day. Even though he is intriguing as a scat back, they're just too... 4 really good running backs ahead of him, so chances are pretty nil. Wide receivers, they keep the bulk of them mainly because the back end hasn't really separated because there is going to be some competition back there with even B.C. Johnson, Tajay Sharp, Hollins, Davis, Beebe as well, Mitchell, Davion Davis. I got Dan Chisena making the roster. Now, he's the 6'3" track star from Penn State, mainly special teamer for the Nittany Lions for a couple of years. I think he will get a shot. Potentially, maybe he will be a practice squad special teams guy down the road. Braylon Addison, CFL star. It's a rough year for CFL guys. Just trying to transition over. So the Vikings decided to part ways with him. Also, tight ends, keeping the 4 who made the initial 53 last year. Gronklin, Dylan, Rudy, Irv Smith Jr., Nakia Griffin-Stewart, the UDFA out of Pitt. Sayonara. Offensive line, fortunately, Reef, Elfline, Bradbury, Samia O'Neal. Then as well as you got a whole bunch of other jabronis. And the only one who is gone is Brady Aiello, who was a UDFA out of Oregon, utility spot starter for the Ducks. And I decided to hang on to UDFA's Jake Lucina coming out August end, as well as Tyler Higbee, who was the Michigan State Offensive Lineman of the Year in 2018. So he's got that going on for him. Over to the D-line. Let's see. Oh, we keep Daniil Hunter. It's good. Only pass on one, cutting David Moa, who was a 6-year player at Boise State, so he's a little bit older, a little bit longer in the tooth, a little bit undersized to be a true nose tackle in the NFL. You know, maybe he would have a shot, but with this offseason, I just don't see it. Plus, there are so many really good, talented players on the defensive tier on the Vikings this year. Linebackers part ways with DeMarquise Gates, who was a star in the XFL with the Houston Roughnecks. Yeah, nailed it. Vikings decided to keep on Cameron Smith, the 5th-round pick from USC last year, as well as the 2 UDFAs, Blake Lynch, as well as Jordan Fair, athletic freak from Appalachian State. And then also specialists keeping all 3, which is good. Safeties keeping all of them. I include Harrison Hand as a safety. And a cornerback keeping all of them except parting ways with Keemon Hall, who was a UDFA last year, and who caught on with the Chargers, who the Vikings signed to a futures contract. But that's it. It does suck, but I guess that is one of the benefits of the Vikings actually carrying only 87 people on the roster, is that you only have to cut 7 names. So, I mean, you do feel for these players because they just wanted a shot to live out their dream, but just due to the circumstances this year, it's not going to happen. And you would hope that in the future, I'm just really good at resizing this. You would hope in the future that when things are back to normal, that they will get an opportunity. But, opportunities are fleeting, especially in the NFL. I mean, next year there is going to be another class of draft picks and UDFAs, and it just gets harder. So, yeah. All right, but your thoughts, cutting 7 men, projections for the Vikings 80-man roster, let us know in the comments section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. If you want to support the work, pull us on the Venmo. But until next time, Skull, production value.